5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi guys, you got some more from Zo. It's Kazi from Cape Town. Listen, I'm going to do a tutorial today on how to make frame staples using the Diheadless. Alright, so few things which you need to prepare beforehand just to make life a bit easier for you is just get this guy ready, make sure there's batteries on the inside so that it actually works. What you're also going to need is your spool jig. Alright, I've already just placed my 38 gauge spool on top of that. So that is definitely what you're going to need. I've already got my straw in place as well. Okay, you're going to need this little fitting. And then you're going to need this little guy. Let's just call it the 28 gauge guide. Pliers. Locatas. Piece of 24 gauge. Just specific length. This is a very important part of this build. Approximately what I'd say 20 centimeters. Okay, you're going to need the wire which you're going to border with. I'm going to border with 28 gauge. You're welcome to do 26 gauge. But if you use 28 gauge, just make sure that you have got 0.3 ribbons. If you're going to use 26 gauge, you're just going to use 0.4 ribbons in that specific case. Alright, so I've pre-straightened myself a piece of 28 gauge. This is about 40 centimeters long. The whole idea is both your border wires and your ribbon wires we are going to bend. Right, so they're going to fold over, so your 40 centimeters is actually going to become 20 centimeters in length, but that's enough for 2 or 3 beautiful coils. 4 pieces of 40 centimeter ribbon wires, okay, so that you can also do beforehand. And then last but not least, because I used ribbons and I had them with me, I just cut myself 2 smaller little pieces as well. Okay, and these shorter little pieces, other one fall out. Okay, so these shorter little pieces we're just going to use to actually bind our wires to keep them in place. Alright, so you can use any short pieces of wire. I just find ribbon wire to actually work the best because they're nice and flat to keep all those guys together. Alright, so that's that. Alright, last thing which you're going to need is your clamp. Alright, I just placed an additional swivel on mine, but you have got this swivel with yours, which probably will work great as well. So that shorter piece of 24 gauge, what you're going to do with that is you're actually going to put that through there. Alright, so this is very much importante. So just place it through one of your swivels, however many swivels you're going to use, and bring these two sides together and just fasten them. Okay, just tighten them whichever way you want. Okay, and you can just cut off just to make it nice and neat. Okay, so you basically have a loop which you have created through your swivel. Right, this part which you have tightened is actually going to be the part on the swivel side, and this section at the back over here is where you're actually going to put your wires through to bend them. Alright, so this is very much important. Now you might ask, but why do you do this? Okay, so if you put your wires through, you're going to squeeze this little guy, this end. You're going to squeeze closed like that. Alright, now the reason why I did this, I found it's way easier because this section is actually going to go through your straw last. Right, it fits beautifully through your straw, and in that specific way, when you have got your wire tied to this part and your spindle comes along, and when it goes through there, you have got this portion as well, which means you're not going to waste any wire. Okay, no wire to be wasted, and it actually gives you maximum amount of your build wire which you're going to be able to use. So this is very, very important. Okay, so I'm just going to clamp this guy onto the desk, and then we're going to start putting our ribbons through it, and then secure our ribbons, and then we're going to put our border wire through it, and then secure all of them together. Cool beans? Alright. Okay, so there we've got our clamp which has been attached to the desk, and I've got my two little swivels, and there's my 24 gauge loop which I have put through that. Alright, so now we're going to start taking the wires and putting it through this end. Alright, so I cut myself 4 ribbon wires. You're welcome to use 3. There's absolutely no problem. I just want my core to have 8 ribbon wires. And that's what you do. So you just pull it through, and when you feel that it is halfway, you just tighten it. Okay, so there's our first one through. And that you're going to do with all 4 of your ribbon wires. Just put another one through. Okay, so you get the idea. So that's what you're going to start doing. You're going to put all your ribbon wires through there. Alright, so there I've got all 4 of my ribbon wires which I've actually put through. And now the trick is going to be, where you have to be patient, is you must actually get these wires to go and lie next to one another. You just squeeze them at the top. I find that is going to be the easiest. So now you use your one short little piece of wire, which I actually said you're going to use to bind. Just cut off the excess. And what I do now with my pliers, I just give it a nice little squeeze, gentle squeeze, just to make sure that they're next to one another. Okay, if you look closer, then you'll see they're next to one another. Okay, so now we take our 28 gauge and we do exactly the same with it as we did with the ribbons. There you go. It should look something like that. Then it looks perfect. So we're just going to use our other tie down and then just tie them all together now. Sweet potato. So that is what you're aiming for. That's what you want. Okay, and then you're good to go. You'll see all our ribbons on the inside and the borders on the outside, the 28s. Alright, the next thing which I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this tie down, and you can see as I slide it forward, it actually keeps the wires nicely together. So I'm just going to slide this tie down all the way to the front, and I'm going to find myself a nice portion where the wires are still nicely together, and then I'm going to cut it off nice and evenly. Okay, so that all the wires are nicely together. So it must be nice and flat so that you can put it through those slits. Right, so next what we're going to do is just going to take this little guy and place it in the front over there. That we can do. What you can also do so long is just get a piece of your 24 gauge, your Claptoning wire, and just get it through that little hole over there. So just get your Claptoning wire and put it through. I normally just use a bottom hole, because the closer I find everything is to one another, the easiest it is. Okay, just give it a bit of slack so it doesn't go back. And now what you're going to do is you're going to put these wires, you're going to put through those little straw, because you want the wires to exit in front. Cool beans? Nice. Just make sure your guide is all the way to the front, but not right in the front, because it might fall off and then you've got a problem. Then you must put it up again. So these wires are nicely together now, and now I can put them through the straw very comfortably, like so, and you see it exits in the front. There it is. Sweet. And now it's going to be easier to put it through that small little hole over there, because your wires are all together. Right, so that is the situation which you have at the moment, when it is nicely through where we actually want it. So the next part is just take this little guide of yours. All the wires are nicely together still, and that's what you want. If you got that, then you're 3/4 of the way home. So next step which I did is I just took an additional piece of ribbon wire and I just secured the front end. Now this little guy which is here, which we actually used, you can remove that guy now, because all your wires are together. Sweet. And as I said, this guy we're going to place inside the drill head now. Right, so next step is just to take this 40 gauge or 38 gauge, whatever you're going to Clapton with. Just take a section of that and just turn it around that front end. Okay, and as I said, you can remove this little back guide. You can remove that little guy now just using a tweezer. Now that it is removed, we can take our little guide and put it in there, in the hole. Nice, and move this car forward. Okay, I'm just going to give you a close-up so you can actually see what it looks like over here. All our wires next to one another, and we're ready to go. Slow down a bit, you can actually see how nice, how lovely that wrapping is. Absolutely amazing. Amazing! Okay, I just quickly want you to pay attention to that little back part. Remember, that is our 24 gauge which we actually used, and now you'll see it is going to be drawn into the straw very soon, so that we still got this piece of wire which is running on the inside to be able to use that. Okay, so we do not waste. Fantastic little innovation over here. See that it's going in now. That's why I say you must just squeeze it so that this actually fits into that straw. Then you won't have any problems. There we go. Okay, very nice piece here. Fantastic stuff. Let's just quickly cut off a piece and show you actually what it looks like. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Now, why would you go out and pay 160 to 250 Rand when you can make this yourself? You tell me. Absolutely amazing. 28 gauge borders, 8.3 ribbons on the inside, and Clapton with 38 gauge. Let's just turn a nice coil and show you what this awesomeness looks like. Guys, just look at that coil. Ain't that fantastic? And this is what the Daedalus Pro can do. This is what you can do. Absolutely stunning coil. Kaiser, but why would you go through all this trouble? It seems as if it takes so long. No, it doesn't take so long. If you get into the groove of this coil could probably take you about 20 minutes to make a piece, of which you can cut out 3 different sections to make 3 fantastic frame staple coils. But besides that, even if it takes you an hour to make it, you're still going to get coils which is going to last you minimum a month. I have got exact same coil in the Hadley, and I've had it in there for 2 months already. So yeah, if you've got a lot of money and you do not want to go to this, there's a lot of guys which like me love building stuff and making stuff. If you got coin, go out and go and buy it for 160 to 140 bucks. But yeah, for a guy like me that doesn't find it necessary to spend that money, I'd rather spend the money on vape ingredients to make more juice. I make it and I enjoy making it. So yeah, go to the effort, learn it. This is a fantastic technique to actually build this. Just make sure you get your wires nicely together in the beginning. Okay, so yeah, and be patient. Again, be patient, because wire is expensive and you don't want to waste the wire. If you're wondering what I'm vaping, this is absolutely amazing. Well, I enjoy it though. If you're interested, this is a lime mint soda, which I came up with last night there. And if you want the recipe, just tell me. I'll post it inside eSig SA forums. Cool. If you're wondering what gear I'm wearing, just a big up to Juicy Joe's. Just to let you know that Juicy Joe's is selling concentrates, okay, at the moment. I mentioned in my previous video, but my shirt was dirty. Now my shirt is nice and clean. So yeah, proudly wearing Juicy Joe's. Local is lekker. And then obviously the vape guy from Bumblebee. And these 2 items are sponsored. That is why I'm wearing them. Cool beans. So if you're wondering, there are other great vendors out there. Make no mistake. Please support these guys. This is Kaiser signing over and out. Cheers.